Ladies and gentlemen, before you check your phone, before you read the emails, before you scroll through social media, you need to command your mind. Why? Because the first voice you hear in the morning should be your own. The voice of authority, the voice of destiny, the voice that's building the future. You can't let the world tell you who you are. You've got to speak to your soul and remind it who God says you are. So every single morning, here are 6 things you must tell yourself, not just say. Declare, believe, and embody. Your words shape your world. This isn't just a motivational phrase. It's a spiritual and psychological law. Every time you open your mouth, you're either building your future or breaking it down. Proverbs 18:21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." That's not poetry, that's reality. Your tongue has power. Power to direct, power to attract, power to create. When you speak, you're setting the tone for your day, your relationships, your income, and your identity. Think about that. Your mouth becomes the steering wheel of your life. Wherever your words go, your life will follow. Most people don't understand the gravity of their own language. They think speaking is just communicating, but it's more than that. Every word you say is a seed. If you keep saying, "I'm broke," you're planting poverty. If you say, "I'm tired," you're planting fatigue, and what you plant consistently, you will eventually harvest. So if your life feels like it's not going where you want it to, the first place you should check is not your job, your boss, or your bank account. Check your confession. What are you saying about yourself daily? Let me break it down practically. If you wake up and say, "I'm overwhelmed," you've already told your brain to look for evidence of stress. Your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters reality, is now searching for reasons to validate what you just declared. So now, your brain is in alignment with your complaint. But what if you flipped it? What if you said, "I am focused, I am calm, and I handle challenges with wisdom"? Your brain now filters the day through the lens of confidence. It doesn't mean challenges go away, but you face them with a renewed mindset, and your reactions begin to change. You see, you can't just hope for change. You have to speak it into motion. God didn't think the world into existence. He spoke it. He said, "Let there be light," and light showed up. He could have snapped his fingers, but he chose to model the power of language. You and I were made in his image, which means our words are creative tools, not just sound. So why would you wake up and complain when you could command? Speaking powerfully is not arrogance. It's alignment. When you say, "I am more than a conqueror," you're not bragging. You're agreeing with God. When you say, "I can do all things through Christ," you're not boasting. You're declaring your spiritual reality. You must speak on purpose if you want to live on purpose. That's why every morning, before anyone else speaks into your life, you must speak life into yourself. Because if you don't shape your world with your words, the world will shape you with its confusion. Choose creation over reaction. Speak like your future depends on it, because it does. You must program yourself before the world programs you. Every day you wake up, your mind is a blank canvas, ready to be written on, painted on, and influenced. The question is, who's doing the writing? If you don't take control of the narrative, culture will do it for you. The news, social media, negative people, your past, all of it will flood in and define your identity, your mood, your decisions, and your direction. That's why intentional self-programming is not optional. It's necessary. You must wake up with the mindset of an architect, not a bystander. You are building your belief system, brick by brick, with your words, thoughts, and habits. This is what most people don't understand. The human mind doesn't stay neutral. It's like fertile soil. If you plant good seed, it will grow. If you plant weeds, they'll grow too. But if you plant nothing, weeds still take over. The same applies to your thinking. If you don't actively feed your mind with truth, discipline, faith, and focus, you leave it open to fear, doubt, comparison, and laziness. You can't afford to be passive. Every morning is a war for your thoughts, and if you don't set the tone, the noise will set it for you. Think about your phone. You wouldn't walk around with a dead phone all day, would you? You charge it every night so it's ready for the day. But how many people walk around with a dead mind, drained emotions, and a weak spirit, simply because they didn't recharge their belief system in the morning? Your internal software must be updated daily. You must upload confidence, delete fear, install new vision, and run the program of purpose. That's what morning self-programming is about. You don't just wake up, you boot up. And let's be clear, this isn't just about positive thinking. This is about intentional alignment with who God created you to be. Romans 12:2 says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind," not by working harder, not by grinding mindlessly, by renewing your mind. That means transformation is not magic, it's mental. You become what you repeatedly think. So, if your thoughts are not programmed with purpose, don't be surprised when your life drifts into confusion. Here's the truth: the world is loud, but your inner voice must be louder. You can't walk into a chaotic world with a silent mind. You've got to speak to yourself before the world speaks to you. You've got to remind yourself who you are before someone tells you who you're not. And you must choose your mental diet before life feeds you junk. Self-programming is how leaders rise. It's how people of faith move mountains. It's how visionaries build what others can't even see. Because they've learned this one principle: if I win the morning, I win the day. So start your day with intention, with power, and with truth. Because you are the programmer of your destiny. You must control your emotions. They don't control you. Emotions are real, but they are not rulers. They are indicators, not dictators. Just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to follow it. And this is where many people fall off course in life, business, and relationships. They allow temporary feelings to make permanent decisions. But if you want to walk in purpose, grow in maturity, and build anything that lasts, you must master your emotions, or they will master you. God gave you emotions to experience life, not to run it. Think about your car dashboard. When a warning light comes on, it doesn't mean the car is broken. It means something needs attention. That's what emotions do. They signal something. Fear signals danger or uncertainty. Anger signals offense or injustice. Sadness signals loss or disappointment. But here's the problem. Most people take the signal and surrender to it instead of managing it. They treat a warning light like a steering wheel and hand over the keys. Let's make this practical. You wake up and you feel tired. If you let that emotion lead, you won't pray. You won't move and you won't build. You'll say, "I'll do it later." And later becomes never. You feel frustrated with a loved one, and instead of pausing, you react. You yell, you shut down, you disconnect. You feel anxious about a challenge, and instead of facing it, you procrastinate and avoid it. Emotions unchecked become barriers to obedience, consistency, and greatness. But here's the good news. You are not a slave to your emotions. You are a spirit. You have a soul, and you live in a body. Your soul includes your mind, your will, and your emotions. But your will is in there for a reason. It gives you the power to choose how you respond. You don't have to deny how you feel, but you do have to decide what you do with it. Maturity is when you can say, "Yes, I feel this, but I will not let it run my day." That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is the ability to act according to your values, not your moods. It's when you pray even when you don't feel spiritual. It's when you work even when you don't feel motivated. It's when you speak kindly even when you're irritated. Emotional control isn't about suppression. It's about stewardship. You take what you feel, you process it with wisdom, and you respond with purpose. Jesus himself showed emotion. He wept, he got angry, he felt sorrow. But he never let those emotions derail his assignment. That's the model. Feel it, acknowledge it, but don't be governed by it. Your emotions are a part of you, but they are not the boss of you. So every morning declare, I lead my emotions, they don't lead me. That one decision can change how you love, how you lead, and how you live forever. Forgiveness is not just a spiritual principle, it's a success principle. Holding on to offense is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It clogs your focus, kills your joy, and silently blocks your blessings. That's why every single morning, before you check your to-do list or pursue your goals, you must make the decision to forgive and release all offense. Not just the big betrayals, all of it. The small disrespect, the unreturned call, the overlooked effort, the past failures, and even the way you've been treating yourself. Here's what most people don't realize. Unforgiveness isn't just spiritual, it's neurological. When you hold onto resentment, your brain stays in a stress loop. Your body releases cortisol. Your nervous system stays tense. Your mind keeps replaying old pain as if it's happening now. And all of that energy that could be used for growth, creativity, and focus is now tied up in bitterness. You cannot build a successful future while carrying the baggage of a bitter past. Forgiveness isn't weakness. Forgiveness is freedom. Some people think, but I can't forgive them. They don't deserve it. Let me tell you something. Forgiveness was never about what they deserve. It's about what you need. You need your mind back. You need your peace back. You need your energy back. Holding a grudge is like living rent, free in a prison you built for yourself. The person you're mad at might have moved on, but you're still stuck, rewatching the scene that broke you. You deserve better, and forgiveness is how you get it. Jesus said in Matthew 6:14-15, if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. This is deeper than just being kind. This is about keeping your spiritual channel open. Because when you block forgiveness, you also block favor. You can't receive what you refuse to release. That's why the most powerful thing you can do each morning is to clear the offense file. Get up and say, I forgive quickly. I release freely. I don't carry yesterday's pain into today's purpose. And don't forget this. Sometimes the person you need to forgive is you. That mistake you made, the opportunity you missed, the thing you said, the time you wasted. It's time to let it go. You're not that person anymore. God's mercy is new every morning. Why are you still holding on to guilt from last year? Set yourself free. Look in the mirror and say, I forgive you. I love you. We're moving forward. Because your future won't wait for you to stop punishing yourself. Forgiveness is not a one-time act. It's a daily discipline. Every morning, before the world gets loud, you pause and reset your heart. You say, I will not allow offense to live in me. I will walk in love not just because it feels good, but because it frees me to focus, build, and lead. That decision is the key that unlocks peace, power, and progress. You are worthy of success, love, and abundance. Not someday, not when you finally get it all together, but right now. This is one of the most critical truths you must tell yourself every morning, because the battle for greatness doesn't start with your skill, it starts with yourself. Worth. If you don't believe you deserve it, you'll subconsciously sabotage it every time it gets close. You'll talk yourself out of opportunities, undercharge your value, tolerate toxic relationships, and settle for crumbs when you were called to dine at the table of kings. Low self-worth is a silent assassin. It doesn't always shout. It whispers. It says, who do you think you are? You're not good enough. Nobody like you has ever done that before. And if you don't challenge that voice, it becomes the story you live by. But here's the truth. Your worth doesn't come from your resume, your background, or your bank account. It comes from the one who made you. God never made anything average. You were formed with excellence, crafted with purpose, and infused with divine value before you ever proved anything. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. That means you are not a mistake. You are a masterpiece, and if God says you're worthy, who are you to argue? Yet so many people walk around shrinking themselves, minimizing their talents, waiting for someone else to validate what God already confirmed. But success doesn't come to the most talented. It comes to those who believe they're worthy of it. You don't get what you want, you get what you're willing to receive, and your level of self-worth determines your level of receptivity. That's why this morning affirmation matters. I am worthy. Say it until your mind believes it. Say it until your posture changes. Say it until you stop chasing approval and start walking in authority. Because if you don't believe you're worthy of love, you'll attract people who treat you like a burden. If you don't believe you're worthy of success, you'll underperform and then call it fate. If you don't believe you're worthy of abundance, you'll always feel guilty when it arrives. And let's be clear, worthiness is not entitlement. You're not owed anything, but you are positioned for everything. The cross didn't just pay for your salvation, it confirmed your value. That means you're not begging your way through life. You're claiming what's already been made available. You're not hustling for identity, you're operating from identity. And when you understand that, you stop performing and start producing. You stop comparing and start creating. So every morning, tell yourself the truth. I am worthy of healthy love. I am worthy of success that aligns with my calling. I am worthy of abundance because lack does not glorify God. Let that worthiness sit in your spirit. Let it guide your decisions. Let it elevate your standards. Because when you know your worth, you stop negotiating with anything that tries to lower it. What you declare in the morning determines what you attract during the day. If you don't program your mind with truth, the world will infect it with lies. That's why these 6 declarations aren't just good ideas. They are your spiritual strategy, your mental reset, and your daily alignment with purpose. You must wake up and tell yourself, I am created with purpose. I have the power to create wealth. I control my emotions. They don't control me. I forgive and release all offense. I am worthy of success, love, and abundance. I will take bold action today. Say them. Believe them, live them, because these aren't just statements. They are seeds, and if you plant them daily, consistently, and with faith, they will grow into results that no man can take credit for and no devil can steal. You don't rise to the level of your intentions, you rise to the level of your identity, and your identity is shaped by what you speak. If your language changes, your life will follow. So speak like a champion. Move like a visionary. Operate like a child of God with kingdom authority. Don't leave your day to chance. Command it with conviction. The world doesn't need more people who are simply awake. It needs people who are aligned, assigned, and activated. That's you. That's your call. And that's the power of starting every day with truth in your mouth, purpose in your heart, and boldness in your step. Your future is listening. Speak to it with power.